The world doesn't care who you are. It only responds to how you think. Before you speak, before you act, before you rise or fall, it begins with the mind. The mind is the master key, and most people, they've handed it over to fear, to excuses, to doubt dressed up as logic. They build their life around limits, then wonder why nothing changes. But the ones who win, they start in a different place. They start in silence, in the shadows, not with perfect conditions, but with a choice, a decision to take back control of their most powerful weapon, their thinking. Because everything you want, the wealth, the clarity, the confidence, the impact, it all begins in the mind. And until you master that battlefield, nothing on the outside will change, not for long. Building a mind that wins is not about having positive thoughts. It's about learning to command your thoughts, to train them like a soldier trains a blade with discipline, precision, and purpose. You don't need to wait until life gets easier. You need to get stronger. You need to take that inner voice that keeps playing on repeat, the one that says, maybe, someday, I don't know, and you need to rewrite it. Burn it if you have to, because that voice is not yours. It was built by a world designed to keep you average. If you were born into fear, into chaos, into poverty, fine. But you do not have to stay there, because the mind is the great equalizer. It does not care where you start. It only reflects what you believe. That is why two people can grow up with the same struggle, the same pain, the same setbacks. One rises, the other repeats. One chooses discipline, the other waits for motivation. One builds a mind that serves them. The other becomes a prisoner to their own thoughts. Henry Ford said it best. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's not a quote, it's a warning, because the subconscious mind is always listening. Every time you say, I'm tired, it takes note. Every time you say, I'm not good at that, it obeys. Every time you say, that's just how I am, it makes it so. And yet, that same mind, trained and sharpened, can become a force so powerful it bends reality. That's what Carnegie did, what Edison did, what Disney did. They weren't born with genius. They were born with agency, and they chose to use it. They created a mental blueprint that refused to lose. They conditioned themselves to see possibility where others saw risk. They visualized their victory, not once, but daily, obsessively, relentlessly, until the world caught up. You don't wait for a winning mind to appear. You build it with repetition, with clarity, with daily declarations that don't just inspire you, they become you. You train your thoughts the same way a bodybuilder trains his frame, not once, not when convenient, but constantly. Because the mind, left on autopilot, will drift. It will shrink. It will echo every limiting belief you've ever absorbed unless you replace it with truth. The truth is, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who commands them, but only if you decide to. Reflection of the world you've imagined. And most never change their lives because they never change their thoughts. But you are not most people. You are here. You are listening. You are choosing to seed your mind with power instead of fear, clarity instead of confusion, direction instead of doubt. That alone separates you from the masses, because the masses react. But leaders respond. They do not beg for circumstances, they create them. You don't need more time, you need more decision. Hill said, successful people make decisions quickly and firmly. Failures never make up their minds. So tonight you decide to no longer live beneath your potential, to no longer chase comfort, to no longer speak words of limitation to yourself in secret. Because the secret to life is what you say when no one is watching. It's the thoughts you repeat when you're alone. It's the story you tell yourself before sleep. And if you do not rewrite that story with intention, it will repeat itself forever. This is your moment to rewrite it, to affirm with full conviction, I was born to do something great. I have everything I need to begin. There is nothing outside of me more powerful than what lives inside me. No more hesitation, no more waiting for signs. The signs will follow the steps. The evidence will follow the belief. The world will bend to the force of your will when your will stops bending to the world. Even in rest, you are creating. Even in silence, your thoughts echo into the future. So train your inner voice to speak only strength. I already possess the power. I already possess the mindset. I already possess the ability to direct my life, no matter what has happened in the past. Because the past is a lesson, not a sentence. The past is a stepping stone, not a cage. Nothing that happened before this moment has the right to define what comes next unless you give it permission. And you won't. Tonight you take it all back. Your authority, your belief, your identity. Hill wrote, "You become what you think about." So what are you becoming? Are you becoming stronger in your mind, more disciplined in your actions, more aligned with your purpose? Good. Then you are becoming dangerous to fear, unreachable by doubt, untouchable by mediocrity. The seed is planted. Water it with repetition. Feed it with emotion, and soon the harvest will arrive. Your thoughts do not sleep. Long after the body rests, the mind keeps building, and what it builds, whether peace or chaos, strength or fear, is entirely determined by what you feed it before the silence. So tonight, as the world fades, you return to the source of power, your mind, your belief, your invisible workshop, where all success is first imagined before it is ever made real. You are not drifting. You are creating. Every thought you hold is shaping your future. Every word you whisper to yourself is a command to the subconscious. And what you consistently command, you will eventually live. This is no fantasy. This is the very philosophy that lifted men from poverty to power. This is the foundation upon which empires were quietly constructed. One idea, one burning desire at a time. Andrew Carnegie believed in it so fully, he entrusted Napoleon Hill to reveal it to the world. And Hill did, not through guesswork, but through decades of study, reflection, and application. The result? A blueprint, not for mere wealth, but for mastery of the self. And mastery begins in stillness. In these quiet hours, when the world retreats, your soul is most awake. Now is the time to remind yourself you are not a product of your past. You are a master of thought, and through the repetition of that truth, it will become law. Close your eyes and hear this. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is not poetry. This is cause and effect. This is the engine behind invention, behind fortune, behind greatness. What you allow yourself to imagine deeply, vividly, emotionally begins to take shape in the unseen realm. Thomas Edison saw light long before the world did. He conceived it, he believed it, he acted with faith, and the darkness surrendered. You hold that same power right now in this stillness. Your only enemy is doubt. Doubt is the destroyer, the thief. It does not scream, it whispers, it questions, it delays. But you are not the doubter, you are the decider. Let your mind repeat this truth. I will never quit because I was not born to be average. Not one soul Hill ever interviewed, Carnegie, Schwab, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, reached greatness without first believing in the unseen. They trained their minds to reject limitation. They reprogrammed their subconscious through relentless repetition. They understood that faith is not a feeling, it is a practice. And practice happens now, here in the dark, where there are no distractions, where you are alone with your breath, your heartbeat, and your vision. You are not falling asleep, you are rising from within. Clarity is the first weapon. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. And yet most people, you don't stumble into a strong mind. You forge it through discipline, through repetition, through fire. You break the old patterns not by arguing with them, but by overriding them with something stronger, a new internal code. When the voice in your head says, I can't, you answer back, watch me. When it says, you've never done this before, you say, exactly. That's why I must. You learn to speak with power, not to others, but to yourself. because the world will only echo the authority of your own voice. You want to build a mind that wins? Start with how you speak about your life. Stop describing problems and start declaring outcomes. No more, I hope this works out. Say, I will make this work. No more, I'm trying. Say, I'm doing. No more, I don't know how. Say, I'll figure it out. This is not fake it till you make it. This is build it until it bends reality, because every belief you repeat becomes a blueprint. And the mind doesn't know the difference between truth and repetition. It just obeys what you feed it. Most people speak death over their life. They don't even realize it. They reinforce every limitation with casual words. I'm always broke. I can't catch a break. I'm just not that type of person. And so life obeys, not because it's cruel, but because you commanded it to, over and over again until it became law inside you. But laws can be rewritten. Neural pathways can be rebuilt. Patterns can be replaced. You are not stuck. You are conditioned. And conditioning can be broken, but only through repetition that is deliberate, intense, and unapologetically bold. Every day, you must feed your mind with what you want it to believe. You must choose your thoughts like you choose the fuel for a rocket, because weak fuel burns fast. But belief, real, unshakable belief, that launches you past every limit. This is where clarity becomes essential. A mind that wins is not scattered. It is focused. It is built on a single vision, burned into memory, reinforced through action, lived as if it already exists. If your mind doesn't know where you're going, your life will wander. But when your mind knows the mission, everything aligns. Your energy, your time, your decisions, they all begin to orbit around the outcome. Winners don't need to be pushed. They are pulled by vision, pulled so strongly, so magnetically, that excuses dissolve, distractions fade. The old identity breaks down because it can't survive in the presence of the new one you're building. Every minute you spend drifting is a minute you could have spent programming yourself to think like a leader, to move like a builder, to act like a warrior. That's how you build a mind that wins. You program it daily with conviction. You act with discipline, not emotion. And you speak your future into existence with words that carry authority.